Ever imagined drinking mercury for eternal life? Or using urine to whiten your teeth? Greetings everyone, today, we will delve into the bizarre and sometimes deadly medicines and treatments of the past. From the mystical allure of mercury to the dangerous allure of radium drinks. Brace yourselves as we oscillate between amazement and horror. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. First of all, we will introduce a substance that has been very commonly used as a mystical medicine since ancient times. The substance was used as an ointment in ancient Persia and Greece, and in 2nd century China. It was believed to prolong life. This substance was reputed to grant eternal life, and even enable individuals to walk on water. It has been treated as if it were a magic potion. In reality, this so-called magic potion was nothing other than mercury. Mercury is unique, a silver-colored metal that behaves like a liquid at room temperature, akin to water. Seeing its strange and mysterious appearance, ancient people must have assumed that it must be a magic medicine. However, we now know mercury is harmful and potentially fatal. Ironically, those seeking eternal life by consuming mercury likely shortened their lifespans. Besides, it was believed that in order to walk on water, one should ingest not only mercury but also sulfur and arsenic. Arsenic, highly toxic, can cause poisoning through ingestion, skin contact, or inhalation of its vapors. Indeed, it's a highly dangerous substance. Furthermore, drinking arsenic would not enable one to walk on water, of course. In fact, you might have lost your life and walked to heaven above the sky. Even in the 19th century, mercury was still used to treat diseases like syphilis. It is no wonder that it continued to be used for so long. Even though there were probably more patients suffering from mercury poisoning than from curing diseases, the mysterious appearance likely led people to attribute magical effects to it. Not just the drugs, but also the anesthetics used before surgery were quite dangerous. It was not until the mid-19th century, anesthesia came into common use as a safe option. So what anesthetics were used before surgery in earlier times? One example is an anesthetic called Douceur, which was a favorite of physicians from the 12th to 15th centuries. This anesthetic used alcohol and 7 different ingredients. The first of these ingredients is lettuce, which might sound more suited to a salad, but it's true. Then, bile, a digestive fluid produced in the animal's liver, is added. The initial ingredients, lettuce, vinegar, and bile, seem unlikely sleep aids. Yet they appear harmless. The problem, however, is the other 4. These included the herbs, bryony, hemlock, henbane, and the narcotic, opium. While these substances do have analgesic and hypnotic effects, they can turn into deadly poisons if administered in incorrect dosages. Such a dangerous anesthetic, Douceur, was very commonly used in the Middle Ages, and even appears in Hamlet, written by Shakespeare. However, if the wrong formula was used, the patient would not just sleep through the surgery, but might never wake up. At that time, you had to first cross the dangerous bridge of possible death by anesthesia. Before you could be sure that the surgery would be successful, merely the anxiety and fear were sufficient to induce sickness. Historically, dangerous substances were used not just in treatments, but also in cosmetics. For example, paraffin was used in the 19th century to remove wrinkles and enhance breasts. Paraffin, a common ingredient in candles and crayons, isn't particularly toxic in itself. However, the real issue lies elsewhere. The problem is that paraffin becomes liquid when heated, but hardens when cooled. If you light a candle, the wax becomes liquid, but it does not dissolve in a person's hand, right? In other words, it is not something that can be softened by the warmth of body temperature. So what would happen if such a thing were injected into the wrinkles of the face? Or into the chest? Naturally, it hardens in the body. The paraffin, once hardened within the body, forms a thick, painful mass known as a paraffinoma. Not only that, it also caused problems, such as inflammation and clogging of blood vessels in the body. For this reason, cosmetic surgery using paraffin was discontinued after a short period of time. There are also other things that are now known to be dangerous, but were once considered good for the body. One such example is cigarettes. It was only around the middle of the 20th century that the dangers of smoking became known. It is surprising that in the 19th and early 20th centuries, smoking was even promoted as a treatment for asthma. Not only that, but smoking was even advertised as a cure for baldness, and as a way to see in the dark. Today, it has been pointed out that cigarettes can cause hair loss. So there is no such thing as a baldness cure with cigarettes. Incredibly, some cigarette advertisements even boasted doctor endorsements. It's startling that doctors once endorsed tobacco, given what we know today. Times have indeed changed, as evidenced by the warning labels on cigarette boxes, stating, "may be hazardous to your health." There's one misconception so profound that the previously mentioned belief in the health benefits of cigarettes pales in comparison. That is the radioactive substance radium. Discovered by the famous Marie Curie and Pierre Curie, radium has been noted as a material that emits a mysterious light. In fact, radium emits not only beautiful light, but also radiation that is harmful to the body, but this was not yet known at the time. At that time, proper handling of radium was unknown, so it was simply touted as a new material that emitted beautiful light. Radium was also marketed as a health drink. It was advertised that drinking this radium drink would cure various illnesses, and it was even possible to make it at home. However, those who consumed the radium beverage, ignorant of its effects, were unlikely to find cures and, in fact, likely faced health complications. This is a horrifying story. And this was also true for Marie herself, a radium researcher. Marie, who worked on radioactive materials for a long time, is said to have suffered from various illnesses and died as a result of radiation exposure. However, during her lifetime, Marie herself never acknowledged the health problems caused by radiation. Thus, the decades from the first half of the 20th century to the middle of the 20th century were a time when a number of quite experimental treatments existed. Let me mention two of these surprising cures. The first is a method of treating one disease with another. One method involved treating a disease with another, intentionally infecting syphilis patients with malaria, known for its high fever. The reason why such a treatment was devised was that there was no cure for syphilis at the time, whereas there was a cure for malaria. The doctor who came up with this treatment thought that the high fever of malaria would kill the bacteria that caused syphilis and then cure malaria. This method, resembling fighting poison with poison, did produce some positive outcomes for syphilis patients. However, of course, some patients died of malaria, and many others suffered from side effects. What is even more frightening is that this kind of one-or-everything experimental treatment was performed at the discretion of the doctors, without the consent of the patients. In the end, the effectiveness of this method remained unknown, and it fell into disuse with the spread of antibiotics for syphilis. But that's not the only issue people faced in ancient times. There have been many people suffering from constipation since ancient times. This is because enemas were immensely popular in medieval times. Enemas were popular not only for constipation, but also as a solution to various bowel problems. Enemas involved the use of a giant metal syringe-like object called a crystal. A tube with a crystal tip was inserted through the anus and a special liquid was pumped into the body. This liquid was mixed in various ways depending on the purpose of the enema. Bile from the boar's liver, medicinal herbs, opium, tobacco, and oil were all used. A certain king was notably fond of such treatments. It was Louis XIV, who established the heyday of the French dynasty. In the 17th century, he is said to have taken more than 2,000 enemas during his reign. Moreover, he once held court at the Palace of Versailles, while seated on his throne. Conducting court affairs while receiving his enemas on the throne was likely not the image admirers of the Palace of Versailles wished to envision. So far, we've delved into some less than pleasant topics, like hemorrhoids and enemas, haven't we? What follows is a story about perhaps the easiest medicine in history to obtain. The reason why it is so easy to get is because it comes from your own body. The substance, consistently produced by our bodies, is indeed urine. I apologize in advance, but we're going to continue this discussion a bit further. Some of you may have heard the superstition that If you get stung by a bee, just pee on it. In England around the 16th century, the king's personal physician instructed people to wash their battlefield wounds with urine. And urine was also used to treat skin conditions caused by the plague. And, to the surprise of many, it is said to have actually been effective. Since urine contains elements like urea, effective for treating rough skin, this practice may have had some merit. However, I do not recommend trying it. And urine had more intense uses than just wound healing. There is a theory that ancient Romans used urine as a mouthwash to whiten their teeth. The ammonia in the urine was thought to have the effect of bleaching the teeth, but we definitely don't want to imitate this one either. Incidentally, urine was not the only excrement used for treatment. Stool was also used as a medicine. In ancient Egypt, excrement from donkeys, crocodiles, dogs, and flies was used as medicine. It is said that even in 19th century England, animal excrement was used as a remedy for various injuries. But it is a dangerous medicine that can cause other problems such as tetanus. Then, the notion of using virtually anything as medicine was prevalent. It's astonishing to consider the era's daring spirit in turning anything into a potential cure. Thus, the human pursuit of health spurred the development of diverse drugs and treatments, sometimes life-saving, other times costly. There were various intertwined motivations, from the pure desire for research and the pursuit of beauty, to money-making schemes, all contributing to the evolution of modern medicine. What may seem like an outrageous medical practice today may have been considered a great discovery by the people of that time. This suggests that the medical treatments we trust today might be deemed unbelievable 50 to 100 years from now. When I think about this, I become a little worried. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.